The biggest causes of any fire, be it felt fires or informal dwelling fires, is human factors. Now, when we speak about human factors, there are specific aspects or activities that humans undertake that are the biggest risk. One of them, if we look at the informal settlements, is cooking, illegal connection of electricity, now cooking with open flames, cooking with liquefied petroleum gases. This is your bottles that you use for cooking, especially when you buy your cylinders from uncertified suppliers. It becomes a big challenge. Another item that we have also come across is the use of candle for lighting and the installation of also uncertified solar supplies to informal dwellings. And when we look at wildfires, we also have specific items or specific aspects that are human causes, and most of them come from illegal burning, and then the fire gets out of control. Then we have other aspects such as people that are smoking and throwing cigarette butts in densely grasslands. And then the other is usually hot works that are not supervised. And when we speak about hot works, this is when someone decides maybe to weld around a gate. And the other aspect is when they make fires, either to keep themselves warm. However, when they leave this area, they leave this fire unattended. And then when the wind picks up, it blows it into the veld.
What specific measures has the city of Windhoek implemented in the past year to reduce the risk of wildfire outbreaks, and how is the city assessing the effectiveness of these interventions?
With the city, we are one of the lucky local authorities to kind of have a standardized structure in terms of emergency and risk management. So in our division, we have colleagues that do the monitoring of risks, and then they do the plotting and do evaluation, and then from there we start acting. So our disaster risk officers will then give us information on the climate pattern and what is it that we need to do. So in this year specifically, we know that we received a significant amount of rainfall, possibly as a result of climate change. And that has now increased the biomass of the vegetation. So there will definitely be a lot of veld fires. Now, what we have done from the city is we have intensified our awareness campaigns. This is using our different media platforms to sensitize the different sectors in and around the city. That is your urban areas, such as areas of the islands. That is now an internal thing which we speak to our to Parks and Garden division. And then we also look at the periphery of the city, where we speak to farmers around the city, such as your Brakwater area, and then the rural areas such as the Groothoop. Now, with the periphery around the city, we know that some of the fires start within the boundaries of the city. So the city has initiated a project of doing what we call fire breaks. This is clearing spaces and trying to segment different sectors of the grass, so that if there is a veld fire, we will be able to mitigate or contain it. And in our public notices, we also have tips on how people can keep themselves safe, not only in terms of veld fires, but we are also looking at house fires where people have fireplaces, or where people are trying to cook, as your first question alluded to, in terms of the causes of fire in formal settlement as well.
And how is the city of Windhoek supporting and equipping its emergency response team to ensure quick and effective responses to fire incidents, especially in densely populated or underserved areas?
We are one of the local authorities that are having a permanent structure. So we in the city currently have 4 strategically positioned fire stations that are 24 hours on an operational base and on a rotational base shift change. And these stations are supposed to respond to different incidences, and we reach to each and every incident within 10 minutes. However, as we all are aware, this is a national crisis where we have seen the mushrooming and the increase in the informal settlement. So there is limitation to how fast we can get to certain structures of the informal settlement, and coupled with now the way these informal settlements are set up, to such an extent that you might get to the area where you are called out, but to get to the burning structure, there is no roads. And they are also densely populated for any emergency responder to reach that specific area. But in terms of our planning, we rely on that. We also we have intensified our community fire safety awareness because we believe that prevention is better than cure, where we have different structures where we involve primary schools, secondary schools, tertiary institutions, and even we have gone as far as inviting different institutions or different companies where we give awareness classes, although we do not certify. However, where we need to certify firefighters, we have a training center that also caters for the whole nation, where we do training for farmers in terms of now basic fire management, as well as certification in firefighting for different local authorities or any other institutions that require the necessary skills in terms of emergency response.
Yes, but can you just tell us more on the public awareness or education campaigns the city of Windhoek rolled out to maybe educate the residents about the fire safety during the winter season?
Our strategy for this specific year is that we have given out a public notice, and every week or in a month we need to send out some safety tips on certain fire safety issue that we have identified or a certain risk that we have identified and how the people can go about it. So you as the media are actually our biggest stakeholder in terms of advancing this awareness strategy. And on top of that, our corporate communication is well engaged with us as the industry expert in terms of them now coming up with the best communication plan that we reach the masses in terms of which targeted locations are this, where is our biggest headache. So in terms of wildfire, we have looked at, as I said, the urban area, we've looked at the farmland, we've looked at the rural area, and we will be going in communities. Together with our human settlement department, we have these community leaders that we can equip, and we are planning on intensifying this approach, which I believe other local authorities or other institutions can adopt as well.
How is the city of Windhoek incorporating climate change data and environmental trends into its long-term fire management and disaster preparedness strategies?
The city as an organization, and as we always say, the big sibling of all local authorities, has different departments or different divisions, and we have our colleagues that are expert in climate change. So they are the ones that are feeding us with information in terms of what are the new norms, what are the new findings from the experts of climate change. And we have been told that temperatures will keep on rising, so the global warming will continue. And with this specific season, for us, as we said, last year we received a large amount of rainfall. The vegetation is thick. Previous years, there was a drought, so even wild animals died, so there is no animals to feed on this grassland. So is our domestic animals, so there will be a lot of vegetation. And in fire science, we say there is going to be a lot of fire load. Now, this is going to be our biggest problem. Now, how we incorporate our fire management in this specific thing is by trying to preventative measures. Because if you look at field fires, they can be uncontrolled in terms of you cannot do anything. You just have to watch it burn. If we remember some years ago, I think about 5 years ago, between Windhoek and Rehoboth, there was that big grass fire that where people lost their lives. So we are trying to do preventative measures and also involve other stakeholders such as the Ministry of Environment, because they are at least well vested in terms of if we need to do pre-burning, what type of trees or shrubs can we not burn, as to just conform to whatever framework they have in terms of the climate change and not damaging the environment. So we involve other stakeholders in fire management. So fire management is not only a firefighter's thing, but it involves many other stakeholders. Like in this instance, our climate change expert in the city. We involve the Ministry of Environment, especially the Directorate of Forestry. They also have experts in terms of the animals that live around those areas which we cannot ban.